Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1. You will shortly hear a conversation between a prospective tenant calling to know about some vacant accommodation. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Hello?
Yes, hello. My name is Roger Peters, and I'm looking for an apartment. I saw your ad in the paper about a vacant flat and would like to inquire about it.
Ah, okay. Yes, I got that ad published. I do have a vacant flat, and it is still available.
Ah, then I do have the right number. Could you please tell me more about the flat? From the ad in the paper, it sounds nice. I'm in dire need of a place to shift to.
Why are you looking for a place to shift?
There are several reasons why I'm looking to move, but most of all, I want to lower my costs and also move to a place closer to my workplace. The flat you are offering meets the criteria.
I see. Where are you living now, and how much are you paying for rent?
I'm currently living on the East End, off Highland Boulevard. I live in a two-bedroom flat, and I'm paying $800 a month, plus utilities. It's in that new tower, you know, Brannan Complex.
Oh yes, that is an exclusive area.
Indeed it is. Can I have a little more information about the flat you offer?
What would you like to know?
Well, how spacious is it?
Well, it's big enough to accommodate a family of 4 to 5 members. It has a living room, 2 bedrooms, dining room, kitchen, washroom, and a spacious balcony.
Well, there are 3 of us in my family, and that sounds like it would suit us nicely. Is it fully furnished? What about utilities?
Yes, it's fully furnished, and utilities included are water, gas, and electricity. You will have to arrange for your own landline for telephone.
Nice. And what is the precise location of the building it is housed in?
It's in Flayers Tower. It's a fairly new building, built 2 to 3 years back.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 6 to 10.
Oh, that sounds great. How much is the rent?
The rent is $550 per month.
Oh, that is going to burn a hole in my pocket.
Well, as I said, it is fully furnished and includes all the utilities.
Yes, you did say that.
Now, if you do pay in advance, say 6 months in advance, which will be $3,300, you'll get a discount of 5% off the total rent.
So, This means you want to sign an agreement for 6 months.
I would prefer this, but you do have the option to pay rent every month. So the choice is yours.
Well, it would be difficult for me to fork out 6 months' rent in advance. I'd much rather go for month-to-month rent. What about parking?
Parking is available next to the entrance.
And is this a secured parking? I mean, is there security present?
Yes, of course. There is a security guard 24 hours a day at the entrance. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Yes. How far is it from the shopping mall? And is there a park nearby for the children to play?
Well, there is a park and playground on the complex, which the children can play in. Unfortunately, there is no large mall nearby. The nearest school is 3 kilometers away, but they do have a pickup. There is a fair number of stores nearby for day-to-day shopping.
And when does this flat get ready to shift?
Well, after you fill out the application and pass the credit and background check, you could move in about a week.
Ah, okay. Is there anything else?
Yes, you do need to pay the first month's rent and a security amount of $500.
Why is there a security deposit?
Mainly to ensure that you do not leave the apartment in a dilapidated condition.
Is it refundable?
Only if you leave the apartment clean and in good shape.
When can I come by to view the flat and make the arrangements?
We can meet tomorrow.
Very well. I'll come then. Thank you.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
Listen to a presentation on the 5 most frequently visited museums of Australia. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen to the first part of the talk and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Livingstone, for inviting me to speak before you all. To all of you, thank you for being here. As you know, my name is Dr. Harold Kramer. I'm the Chief of Operations for the Pacific Museum of Natural History, located here in Queensland. I will be discussing the 5 most frequently visited museums of Australia. As you all know, a museum is an institution that houses and showcases collections of artifacts and relics which are of scientific, artistic, cultural, or historic value and make valuable displays and presentations. Not only that, museums are places that provide facilities for study, whether it's in the realm of science, history, aesthetics, or a combination of all 3. The artifacts, models, displays, and other presentations are open for viewing by people through exhibitions. It is a general notion that museums are visited only by scholars or students. This notion is unfortunate and archaic because it springs from the misconception that museums are dreary and drab places. On the contrary, museums can be quite fascinating and intriguing places. I think you'll be very much surprised to learn how many people visit these institutions annually. Among these visitors, you will of course find scholars, students, and tourists. But you will find many other people who visit. Often, you'll find whole families showing up at a museum, with the parents explaining that they bring their children to learn about the world around them, or about things from the past. Others come because by visiting they learn about new things and have great, fun-filled experiences. It really is a pleasure to see all these people visit. It makes the job of working in a museum very fulfilling.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the top 5 museums of Australia. The museums that I'm going to speak about are the National Museum of Australia, Museum of Contemporary Art, Australian National Maritime Museum, National Sports Museum, and the National Gallery. After I describe these museums, I will reveal how many have visited them during the summer months this year. The number will astound you. We'll begin with the National Museum. It was established in 1980 and officially opened in Canberra. It preserves the social history of the Aborigines and traces the events that have shaped the nation through the ages. It houses the world's largest collection of Aboriginal bark paintings and stone tools and is a delight to archaeologists and those interested in Aboriginal culture. The Museum of Contemporary Art was founded in 1996 and was created as a permanent institution for contemporary art. It is located in Sydney and is evolving in exhibiting, interpreting, and collecting contemporary art from all over Australia and the world. It is a hub for lovers of modern art. The Australian National Maritime Museum is located in Sydney and is visited for its display of ships and submarines that are often docked in the harbour in front of the museum. It allows visitors to go aboard these vessels and experience life at sea. It also displays items relating to Australia's dependence on the oceans and has been open to the public since 1973. The National Sports Museum is an amazing museum inside the Melbourne Cricket Grounds. As the name suggests, it keeps a record of the sporting stories from its early beginnings to present times. Sporting heroes, their achievements, and other memorable sporting moments find a place here. It was founded in 1969 and includes the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame, the Australian Racing Museum, and the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. It also features a large interactive area that is popular with all ages. The National Gallery, located in Perth, is by far the most famous gallery in all of Australia. It has extensive displays of Western art, beginning from medieval times and stretching to modern art. It also features Eastern art, mostly in the form of traditional art from South and East Asia, as well as international modern art. Over the 1 century of its existence, it has collected and displayed sculptures, paintings, murals, relics, and lots more. Over the summer this year, these museums witnessed record numbers of visitors. The National Museum alone received 10,000 visitors.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear 2 students and a tutor discussing their plans for next year. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24.
Hi Mark, how's it going?
Oh, hi Lily. I'm okay. Have you decided what course you're going to apply for then?
Yes, illustration. I've already applied to one college, actually.
I didn't even know there were places that did just illustration.
There aren't many. Most combine it with other areas like painting and graphic art. Unfortunately, there are no courses in London, so I've opted for Birmingham.
Birmingham? I'm not sure I'd want to study there.
Well, from what I've heard, you're thinking of not studying anywhere, Mark.
Look, I haven't made any decisions yet, but I'm wondering what the point of carrying on at art school really is. I mean, why not just get a studio and paint?
Aren't you enjoying art school now, then?
Yes, I am, but this is a foundation course, isn't it? I wanted to try out all the different areas. You know, sculpture, computer graphics, a bit of everything. Now I know that I really just want to paint, though. I may as well get a studio and do it.
There's nothing more for you to learn, then.
I didn't say that.
This isn't all about a fear of being rejected, is it? I mean, I know you hate applications and interviews and so on. You're not looking for a way out of all that, are you?
No, of course not. I'm no more scared of rejection than anyone else. I mean, people not buying your work, that's real rejection, isn't it?
Now you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30.
Hi, do you mind if I join you?
We were talking about next year and applying for courses.
I couldn't help overhearing. What's this all about then, Mark? Is it true that you're thinking of not continuing at college?
I'm looking at other options, yes. I've been reading about artists who claim there's no real advantage in learning formally. There's this Scottish guy who just went to Paris and got a studio. He's doing really well now. In fact, one of the fine art students here dropped out of her course at the end of the first year and just went to Prague. She loves it there.
You might just be looking through rose-tinted spectacles there, Mark. There are plenty of people who regret taking that route, you know. For every artist making a living, there are 20 living on the breadline.
OK, I take your point, but I'm thinking about the cost of 3 years at art school as well. Apart from the actual fees, there are all the living expenses. Students are running up at least £30,000 debt by the end of their course.
So, this studio you're planning to get, I take it that'll be free then? If you're contemplating working in Paris or Prague, won't that cost practically the same over 3 years?
Maybe, but I'd be selling my paintings, wouldn't I?
In fairness, Mark, very few artists start selling work just like that.
Yes, but will studying for another 3 years mean that I will definitely be able to sell my work?
It won't guarantee it, but it'll make it more likely. In my opinion, anyway.
Remember that there are plenty of artists who make their name while they're studying. Art schools put on end-of-year exhibitions, and influential people regularly come in looking for talent. Your work is showcased in a way that just won't happen if you're working in isolation.
Yes, I do see all that. I'm just not convinced. I sometimes question the value of a creative course, full stop. I mean, I often feel almost guilty when I tell people that I'm studying art. I see this look on their face, as though they think I should be doing something more useful. I feel that if I get a studio and start working, at least I'd be paying my way.
I think the key factor here is that being at art school exposes you to critical appraisal. Perhaps the most essential function of further education is the constant feedback and constructive criticism. It's essential to personal development, no matter what the field is.
Yes, we all know artists who paint as a hobby, people who've been doing it for years. They think they're experts and wonder why other people haven't recognised their talents. If only they'd become part of a creative community, they'd understand why that hasn't happened.
Yes, I think Lily's right. It's important to keep developing and responding to feedback. Anyway, don't go making any rash decisions. Come and see me.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a woman giving a lecture about the positive effects of laughter. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. I do hope you didn't get too wet getting here this morning. The subject for my talk, I think we could all do with some to take our minds off this atrocious weather, is laughter. The laughter I want to look at is specifically related to psychological therapy and the treatment of physiological disorders, something we've been looking at over the last week or so. Now, when we start talking about psychological therapy, laughter isn't something that immediately springs to mind. Therapy is a serious business, and it's generally approached with an appropriate degree of seriousness. After all, people seek treatment and enter therapy for serious reasons. They're often at critical junctures in their lives, and they need professional help. The question is, how is it that laughter can be such a vital part of the therapy process? It's normally identified with humour, and thus generally deemed appropriate only in lighter, more frivolous circumstances, when it's acceptable to find a situation funny. Perhaps this is why so many people in the medical world feel that laughter's frequently misunderstood and undervalued as a cathartic, healing process. Now, humour certainly is one trigger for laughter, but it isn't the only trigger. If we take as a starting point the fact that laughter is a physical process that releases emotional pain, it follows that stress, anxiety and tension may prompt the same response. Psychologists frequently point out that humans don't laugh because they're happy. They're happy because they laugh. Once we accept that laughter and pain are related, we are less likely to be shocked when people laugh in all sorts of painful, even tragic situations. Cathartic psychotherapy utilizes laughter as an essential medium for healing emotional pain. It's specific to the release of anger, fear, and boredom. When people laugh, they free themselves of painful feelings. The amount of pain the body releases during a single burst of laughter is immeasurable, but we know that the body will keep discharging pain cathartically until there's no longer a need. The only obstacle to the process is the self-constraint we learn to impose on ourselves during our early years. We're taught the virtues of self-control from infancy, and any loss of that control during an emotional outpouring is discomforting. We fail to realize that when we lose control, we actually gain in many other ways. Our cultural preference for processing feelings cognitively, instead of feeling them physically, maintains and prolongs emotional distress. Patients who have had upbringings during which feelings were suppressed may have quashed their ability to laugh, cry, and become angry. Clinicians can help individuals regain these cathartic processes, enabling them to release deep-rooted emotions that may be an obstacle to happiness. Only now has research begun to validate the notion that emotions are stored in the body rather than the mind. Recently developed cathartic techniques allow practitioners to teach patients how to access their hidden emotions and release them. The more catharsis the patient experiences, the more rapidly he or she progresses through the healing process. Laughter is probably the least threatening cathartic process, at least to the person expressing the laughter, and so it has an essential role. It's often a stepping stone to other forms of emotional release, like crying or showing rage. So why, you might ask, has the mental health community been so slow to accept laughter as a healing tool? Well, for reasons I've already outlined. Like any expression of the true self, laughter is radical and revolutionary, and laughing at what is seemingly misfortune upsets conformity. We in the medical professions must challenge the antiquated view that adult laughter is silly and inappropriate. We have to ensure that patients don't reject the healing power of their laughter, in the fear that others will see them as making light of their issues. Traditionally, mental health practitioners have viewed laughter as a way of hiding painful emotion. In contrast, cathartic psychotherapy understands that laughter releases emotion. Through laughter, feelings erupt from within into the outside world. If people suppress laughter, they also stifle the release of pain. The catharsis of laughter doesn't change people's circumstances, but it does change the way people relate to those circumstances. It enables them to take a different view, a view from which terrible misfortune can seem so much more bearable. This allows people to remember, to feel, and to explore without fearing that they'll be trapped by what they can't control. Life's most tragic events often have an essence of absurdity, and this can be the trigger point for laughter. Some people deal with emotional pain instinctively and come along to therapy already laughing and crying. There are many others, however, that need assistance.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.